Hey guys, Matt here from Midwest Lacrosse, here to show you how to finish up that Pita Pocket we were working on. So, we went over in the last video this removable top string, and we also went over how to do your sidewalls, and also that you need to make sure you get your leathers flat somehow, be it by rubber banding them on or taping them, or you can run them through the bottom slots if you like. I don't like to do that because I like to string down here a little ways, but just want to get the leathers flat to start stringing. And we're going to do an 8 diamond Pita Pocket with about a mid pocket, something that has, you know, reasonable hold but will throw nice and clean, so a good pocket for most players. So here we go, bear with me, it's going to take a little while, and we're going to start with the middle section. We need about an 8-foot piece of crosslace or sidewall string if you want your pocket to be harder, but I prefer crosslace. So I got an 8-foot piece of yellow, and we're going to put it right down the middle of this thing. I'm going to show you how right now. Alright, so we've got our clutch all set up and ready to go. We're going to take one side of the string and run it through the top of the leather there. It's the same spot between the leather that the top string is sitting, so we'll go through this leather and then we'll go straight over through the other leather, and we'll pull that all the way through until that both sides are even and we have an even amount of string on either side, because they're going to parallel each other and do the exact same thing all the way through. So what I like to do is string these through the front side of the stick. So right now we're facing the back side of the stick, so I'm going to just take these 2 points right here together and I'm going to stick them right over the top of that yellow string, and that's how we're going to enter into the front, and it gives us a nice little lock. Oh, whoops. That's not what I like to do, because I don't want to leave them over the back of the leathers. We actually want to flip around to the front, excuse me, and we'll come out like this, and then we'll go back through this side instead, and that allows the string to wrap around the front of the leathers instead of the back. And so just in case you're scooping on something hard that maybe you shouldn't be, like concrete, it will keep the crosslace on the front side of the stick and it won't hit anything on the back. So that's how we started out. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, but that's a good one to sort through. We want our leathers to be pulled this part almost to the top. You can leave a little gap if you like, but we want them to be pulled all even so that our crosslace starts at the same section on each part. Okay, now for this we're always going to cross the same way. We want to keep that nice and snug. I like to go right string over left string, so we're going to cross it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And sometimes that gets a little uneven. You got to make sure you try to keep the string as even as possible. Then what we do is we take the right side string, we go over the front of the leather to the back and come back around, and we make sure that it crosses over right there. Create a hitch just like we do with sidewall strings and top strings. So same with the other side. We want to go around and back over the top with the string and pull it all the way through, and that's, you have your first section of diamonds right there, and you want to make sure it's nice and snug and it comes down about an inch or so. We want to keep all of our diamonds spaced out evenly the whole time we do this. So we're going to cross it 1, 2, 3 times. We're going to go around the leather on the right side, pull it up and pull it tight. Around the leather on the left side, pull it up and pull it tight. And just make sure that everything stays snug. These twists will gather extra string as they go, so you got to try to tighten them and keep these leathers about as wide as you want them. You want to keep them spaced about an inch wide, maybe a little less. Alright, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. And then we go around the front with each side. Pull it down, pull it even. I'll change altitude for you right now. There you are. Okay, we're gonna keep going with this. So far we've got 1, 2, 3 crossovers. We're gonna go for 1, 2, 8. 1, 2, 3 twists. And around the leather, around the leather. Make sure that you're making that loop. These guys are coming a little bit loose, but that's alright. Alright, now we're going to twist again. 1, 2, 3. And around each side of the leather, creating our interlock with our nice simple twist down the middle. Making sure that we take the extra string out of the locks that tends to be there. Alright. And I'm just counting out how this is going to work. 4 there, that one goes there, that one goes there. Alright, so we need 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3 crossover. Around the back, outside, and out the front, middle, inside. Back, outside. Alright, we're going to drop you at 1 more level of altitude so you can see the bottom there. 1, 2, 3. You do have to go back sometimes afterwards and double check all that the tensions are even, that both the strings are the same length, because everything needs to be symmetrical. That's the beauty of the Pita Pocket, the dog track pocket, is that it's perfectly symmetrical if you do it right, whereas your normal traditionals are asymmetrical and the diamonds don't line up the same way. Alright, so we've got 8. Now we're looking at the back here because you have to go down below the bottom there for the last one. So just got to make sure we're crossing over the same way here. Right over left, I've got this twisted so you can see it. 1, 2, 3, and then we need to come around the leathers the same way we did before. We'll just finish up with this guy down here. Same with that guy. We're gonna finish and leave them right there for now, because when we keep stringing we'll pull these leathers up and this will become part of the pocket instead of down below the pocket. Okay, so as you can see, I've already done 1 of the sidewalls just so I could map it out and make sure everything was alright. So I'm going to show you how to attach the other sidewall gut string first, and then we're going to do this part last, because that's what creates our channel and it also creates our pocket placement. So first things first, we're going to do this down the left side, and it's quite easy. Just bear with me while I change altitudes again. Okay, so this string needs to be about 8 feet long as well. It can be a little shorter, but it's good to have a little extra. So we go through the top of the leather like that. And right now I'm making sure that this string's even with the other one, so that it'll be long enough to... You always want the outer channel string to be a little shorter than the inner channel string, because it's going to be covering less area. It's only got that small amount of area to cover, whereas this string's got to cover the whole channel and hold the ball. So for this one, I like to face the front. Makes it a little easier because we go through the front of everything. So first, we find this first sidewall loophole that we made, and we go through the front of it like so, and we cross over and create our hitch knot like that. Tighten her down a little bit, and we go in around the front of the leather and come back over the top of the string. Now we go down to the next section of sidewall and do the same thing. And then we come back to the leather. We go around the front of the leather to the back. Tighten her up a little bit, just like that. And I'll drop your altitude. And then we find our next sidewall string, which can be a little bit tough sometimes, but it's right. Oh, here you go. I'll let you have a look on this side. It's right here, number 3. Come up through it, through the front, and then we come back over the top, just like that. And we keep going. We go over the front of the leather, come back around, find our next section of sidewall, which is pulled to the outside because the way we strung it, which is fine. We come under the front there. Oops, I apologize. And then go back over the top of the same string. And you just want to make sure this one stays relatively parallel and doesn't get too kinked out with the sidewall. So we've got that diamond there. Come around the front. We'll find our next section of sidewall string. We'll go through the side of it and around, back through the front, across the leather again. Find the next section of sidewall that we haven't used yet. We're going to use each section of sidewall one time. If you have fewer sidewalls holes, like in an old school head, sometimes you'll have to double up on where you're putting these locks for the sidewalls. But with a head like the clutch and a lot of the new school heads that have tons of string holes, you can usually just fit one lock per sidewall segment, and that makes everything, you know, consistent. It doesn't allow it to really shift. Alright, we'll drop your altitude one more time so you can see the bottom. Coming over the top there like that. Got the side there. Going in front of the leather. Back over the string is the crucial part. All these little interlocks, sometimes you'll mess them up. You got to go back and fix them. They all got to be the same, because if they don't lock properly, then they won't stick like you need them to. They'll slide around up and down the leather, which is not what you need. Alright, so that was our 8th interlock across the leather, and we ran out of sidewalls. So to finish, we just stick it through this bottom hole right here, and then we just tie it off, keeping everything parallel to the side there. And you can go back and adjust your tension as you need, but as you can see, we've got ourselves a pretty solid setup. We've got our sides done, and then you'll see our middle is going to be a little bit wider, and that's where the channeling effect from the stick comes into play. So we'll get into that right now. Put you up top again, like so. Alright, so the reason that we strung everything else to the front was because when you do these interlocks, one side has to go, if you're going from top to bottom with both of them, which we are in this case, this side comes around the front to the back. Therefore this one on the other side has to go around the back side, and then you find this little hole right there. It's that one single loop in the interlock. You go through it, and then you come back around to the same spot, and you make sure that everything's tight but not pulled straight over like that. You just want it to be symmetrical, and to keep it symmetrical you kind of got to do one by one, or do a couple on the right side and then a couple on the left. So for this side we found that same hole right there in the interlock. That's what creates that sweet clean lock. 2 half hitch knots going the opposite ways, and you just make sure that those guys are just about even. The top ones need to be fairly tight because you want the ball to leave the stick up top. So I'll do another green one here while we're on this side. So I go back through. I just finished the center leather. Now I find the back one on the side leather. I go through the back of it with that hole there, come back over the top, and now we've got our first diamond right there. Boom. Do the same thing on the other side. Go through the red hole and pull it snug again. Then I'm going to come back through the middle again and find this hole right there between the yellow, push it through, come back around over the top and create diamond. Alright, so then I'll go one more over there. We'll go to the side. Since we just hit the middle, go to that loop right there, the natural hole in the interlock, and we'll come around it just like that. We've got ourselves a second diamond. Gotta do the same thing on the other side here. And we've got 2 complete diamonds on either side, just like that. Alright, we'll keep going with the green one. Find that gap right there, pull it around and pull it pretty snug. Find another yellow in the center track, and we're just creating these nice diamonds here. I'll do one more while I'm over on this side. You're gonna have to go back through later and adjust all the tension a little more after we go through this tutorial, but this is the way you do it at first. Try to keep everything as symmetrical as possible, pulled snug but not tight. You don't want to be yanking the leathers into any weird positions, but you want them to be, you know, where you want them to be. You gotta decide how everything's gonna sit. You're shaping the pocket yourself. So let's drop you down in some altitude and check out some more of this centerpiece. So we've got a couple diamonds on either side. We're gonna just keep rolling with the red. And as you can see, my leathers are coming a little bit loose from the rubber band down at the bottom, but I just kind of try to pull that tight again, and it all tends to shake out at the end. Alright, so we go through the center track with this red one, come back out, find our next sidewall spot. Same with the green one, keeping everything as parallel as possible, symmetrical as possible. Neat. Alright, keep rolling. So about here is about 2/3 of the way down the pocket, right about there, about halfway. And we are gonna let the pocket loose here pretty soon. And we'll wrap around pretty soon here. We're gonna add another element to our stringing, and we're gonna take it from flat to throwing a ball in there. So you need to get yourself either a butter knife or I like to use a chopstick. So I'm gonna come down one more diamond for each of these, which would make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 diamonds per, leaving these last guys a little bit looser, knowing that we're gonna throw the ball in there. So we've gone, 6 out of 8 diamonds down most of the way. Left the last 2 of this 6 a little bit looser. So what we do now is we're gonna actually do a special throat string where we don't put the leathers through the plastic, where we actually put another string down there and we put the leathers through the string. What this does is makes the leathers a little bit easier to deal with as far as adjusting goes. So what I like to do, you need to get yourself another string, probably at least 8 inches long. I'm going to use a black one. You're going to come through this very bottom sidewall hole from the outside, and you're going to push your string through it. And it can be a little bit tough, but most of the time, as long as the hole's big enough, you can get it through there. And then what you do is you pull these leathers loose from their rubber band, and you allow them to separate. You get the 2 left ones over here, the right ones over there. I want to take this string that I just pulled through the sidewall hole, I want to put it over the back of the 2 left ones, and then I want to put it down through this throat hole right here. So that's the center left throat hole. You put the string down through just like that, and it grabs the leathers like so. So to be symmetrical on the other side, you need to go back up through the center right stringing hole in the throat. A lot of times you'll put the leathers through these holes, but in this case we're just not going to do that. We're going to do this different way. And then we'll go back over these 2 and we'll put it through the other bottom sidewall string hole with a little bit of difficulty, but we've got that covered. Alright, and then you pretty much want that string to be mostly tight, not all the way because you'll pull the leathers a little funny, but pretty much all the way tight. Except for you don't yank it that last little bit, but you want it to be snug. Okay, now our leathers are free to move a little bit more. So what we're gonna do is push our pocket out right here, because that's where it's gonna form. You see we strung the top pretty tight, and then right where we pushed our hands out, where we left the pocket a little looser, looky there, we've already got a little bit of something going on, which is nice. And then we got it nice and snug across the top. So good work so far, it looks like. Then what we like to do is throw that ball in there with the chopstick or butter knife. And the way you do that is you find about where you want that pocket to be. You go underneath this sidewall string. You don't go through the hole. You actually go underneath the string there, and then you weave it through to the, and you find the string on the exact other side, and you put it underneath that red string as well. You keep it in front of the entire pocket, but as you see, it's just right through there, and then you can just tuck this ball up underneath there and be patient with it. You gotta really get it right in the center there, and you'll have to adjust the strings around it and whatnot, but this is a good way to decide to have yourself a pocket right away strung into your stick. And then you see everything looks a little bit uneven, so what I'm doing is just kind of taking a little bit of the slack out of this red stuff right there to just form the pocket exactly around the ball there. And once we do have our ball right where we want it, we want to have it centered and kind of right there hanging out. Then we got to tie our leathers down at the bottom. So I'll drop you down and show you how we do that. We just take these two yellow guys, they're the center leathers. We take them and we make a nice simple square knot. So we go right over left, and then left over right, like so. Same deal with the outer leathers. We pull on them a little bit to make sure they're nice and snug. Then we go green over red, and then green back over red. That's a nice easy square knot. Square knots are awesome because they don't come untied very easily, and they're easy to untie when you need to. So they don't come untied by accident, just on purpose usually. I'm gonna make a few little adjustments to this while I'm working on it. Since we've got the ball in there, you don't want to pull it too tight and go too crazy with it, but you want the tension to be about just so it can't move, so everything's just about snug where it is, just tucked in like so. And you can always adjust the tension in your pocket afterwards because it's never going to be quite perfect, but you can try to get it as close to perfect as possible, and that'll give you the most symmetrical pocket and the most consistent. So we've got that. Now we just drop down, and I'll drop you down levels one more time. We drop it down and we keep going with our pocket here. So I've got this green one, I just came from the side runner, go back to the front, come around, make sure it's pretty snug, go back around the green runner again, through that hole there, get you a little closer. So that's where we're at with that one. Go around the yellow guy one more time. We'll try to do the same over on the red side here. We've got everything snugged up. We'll go through that hole there. You can see the yellow string's coming a little bit loose at the bottom there because we didn't quite finish her off already, but that's okay. We'll finish it off here in 2 seconds once we get these channels a little bit closer to where they need to be. Go through the outer right side again, pull out through there, and one more time through the middle, through the back. You can see why we went and used these outer channel or these inner channels to go over the back of the leather, because then we have the ball on the inside and we couldn't really go over the front, so it makes it work out pretty nicely with all that. It looks like I forgot to do enough crosses over the middle, so we got to do one more yellow cross. Sometimes we get to the bottom and you'll realize that you miscounted by one or so. So it looks like this yellow guy just didn't get crossed up that very last time, so we'll take care of that right now and show you what to do with the bottom of it. We've got that guy there. Make sure it's pretty even. Cross it over 1, 2, 3 times. Going over the front of the leather to the back. Over the front of the leather to the back with either side. And then what you can do now is just take these and go straight down through the throat hole. So the same hole, same side. That center hole, just stick the yellow one right down through it. I'll give you a better view of this one. See that right center hole? We'll just take that right yellow string and just put it right through there. And those just end up down there coming through the bottom. And you can tie a nice knot to them when you get a chance. We'll finish off the red side by going through the last little bit here. Coming back over, going through the last bit of yellow, coming back over, and then the way I like to finish this one off is to put it just right back through there to the front, not through anything but just around the front side to where it was, and then this guy can go down that outer throat string hole all by itself, just like that, and it comes out that outer throat string hole. Same with the green one on the other side, through the center track. And then out through there. Oh, apologies. And then you want to go down, find that outer hole, the outer throat hole, push it right through there, and it'll come out the back. Now once you've adjusted all your tension with all, you saw me doing it before, you gotta, pull all the strings and make sure everything's really tight around that ball, and that'll create a pocket that is shaped pretty much just like the ball. You don't want to go too crazy with tightening it at the bottom, because then you'll create a weird shelf right here where it'll go like that and the ball won't sit. So you gotta account for the fact that the ball's gonna drop down there to the bottom a little bit. But once you get all your tensions tightened up, then all you do is just tie these guys up in the bottom. So the middle ones, you just give them a little 1-2 over the top, and you just tie them like that. So that keeps everything in place, and it's also really easy to adjust it at a later date if you need to. Normally you need to pull more crosslace out of the pocket and then add some back to it, but sometimes if people have pulled a little too tight, then they need to add a little crosslace back to the pocket. But when you're done, and I'll have to clean this guy up and show you how to do the shooters in the next video, but when you're done, you've got yourself a nice legal pocket with room for break-in. Obviously you're going to want to snug up these crosslace pieces a little bit more, and you'll pull the leathers in a little bit. Traditional pockets don't have to be quite as deep as mesh pockets, just because they hold the ball so much better with the leathers and the string and the bigger diamonds. But this is your finished product, almost. You see how everything's not quite perfect, but I'm going to go back through and adjust the tension, just starting at the top and pulling it down to the bottom. But we've got ourselves a pretty solid looking pocket. It's gonna need a little love to make it look a little better than that, but that's how we do it, and I will show you in the next video how to throw some shooters in this thing. And I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to check out our website, midwestlacrosse.com, our Instagrams at midwestlacrossestrings and at MWLAC01, and our Twitter at MWLAC01. Thanks guys.